My name is Rebecca Hayes. I'm 41, and the last time my brother saw me, I was sleeping in my car outside a gas station with everything I owned in 2 trash bags. That was 8 years ago. Today, I am standing in the marble-floored lobby of the federal courthouse, watching him through the glass doors as he paces nervously in his expensive suit, checking his Rolex every few seconds. He has no idea I'm here. He has no idea who I've become. The security guard nods at me respectfully. "Good morning, Miss Hayes. Courtroom 6 is ready for you." "Thank you, Marcus." I adjust my navy blazer and feel the weight of the badge clipped to my belt. 8 years of law school at night, bar exam, public defender's office, district attorney's office, and finally here, Assistant United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, federal prosecutor. The kind of job my family always said was too good for someone like me. Someone like me. The family disappointment. The one who never applied herself. The one who dropped out of college at 19 because dad got sick and someone had to work double shifts to keep the house. The one who spent her 20s taking care of everyone else, while my golden boy brother Daniel finished his MBA and built his hedge fund empire. The one they wrote off completely when mom died, and I had what they called a breakdown. But what I knew was grief so profound it nearly killed me. When I lost the house, lost my job, lost everything, they didn't even return my calls. Rebecca's finally showing her true colors. I'd overheard Daniel telling his wife at mom's funeral, she was always going to end up like this. Some people just can't handle responsibility. This was after I'd spent 4 years changing mom's diapers, managing her medications, sleeping on a cot in her hospital room while he visited twice a month and sent flowers. But here's what Daniel doesn't know as he paces outside that courtroom. 3 years ago, his hedge fund started appearing on our radar. Suspicious trades, insider information, a pattern that made our white-collar crime unit very, very interested. And here's what he really doesn't know. I've been the lead prosecutor on his case for 18 months. The elevator dings and my team emerges. 3 sharp attorneys, 2 FBI agents, and enough evidence to put my brother away for 20 years. Agent Martinez approaches me with a thick folder. "Everything's ready, Rebecca." His attorney just requested one more plea negotiation. I almost smile. After 8 years of no contact, Daniel's about to see me again. But this time, I'll be the one behind the prosecutor's table, and he'll be the one begging. "No deals," I say quietly. "We're going to trial. Let me take you back to where this all started." Growing up, Daniel was the star. 3 years older, honor roll, star quarterback, full scholarship to Princeton. I was the supporting character in the story of his success. The kid's sister who helped him with homework, covered for him when he snuck out, lied to our parents when he came home drunk. "Rebecca will figure it out" became Dad's favorite phrase whenever I needed something. New clothes, Rebecca will make do with hand-me-downs. College fund, Daniel needs it more, he's going places. Help with homework. Rebecca's smart enough to figure it out herself. I was smart enough. That was the problem. I was smart enough to handle everything on my own, which meant everyone expected me to. When Dad had his first heart attack my sophomore year of college, guess who dropped out to work full-time and help Mom manage his care? When Mom started showing signs of early onset Alzheimer's 3 years later, guess who became her full-time caregiver? Daniel would visit from Manhattan on holidays, bringing expensive wine and stories about his success. He'd stay for 2 hours, kiss Mom on the forehead, and disappear back to his life. Everyone praised him for being so good to his family during those brief visits. Meanwhile, I was changing adult diapers, managing doctor appointments, and working nights at a diner to pay for Mom's medications. But somehow, in the family narrative, I was the one who wasn't living up to her potential. When Mom died, I lost my anchor. The grief hit me like a physical force. This woman who raised me, who I'd cared for every day for 4 years, was gone. And suddenly, I had no job. I'd quit to care for her full-time. No home. We'd mortgaged it for her medical bills. And no family support. I called Daniel from my car the night I got evicted, literally sitting in the parking lot of what used to be our childhood home, watching strangers move their furniture into Mom's bedroom. "Danny, I need help. I lost the house and I don't have anywhere to go. Rebecca, you can't keep expecting everyone else to solve your problems. You're 33 years old. Figure it out, click." That was the last conversation I had with my brother. The last conversation I had with anyone in my family, actually. Dad had passed 2 years earlier, and Daniel made it clear I was on my own. I spent 6 months living in my car, showering at truck stops, working whatever jobs I could find. Rock bottom felt like a cold sleeping bag in a Walmart parking lot at 3 a.m., wondering if this was what the rest of my life looked like. But here's the thing about rock bottom. It's solid ground you can build from there. I got a job at a law firm as a night janitor, and while I emptied trash cans and vacuumed offices, I read every legal brief, every case file, every law book I could get my hands on. The attorneys started noticing me, asking questions, started giving me extra work, started encouraging me to think about law school. "You've got an instinct for this," one of them told me. "Have you ever considered becoming a paralegal?" I had bigger dreams than that. I took the LSATs and scored in the 95th percentile, got into law school on a full scholarship, with enough financial aid to rent a tiny studio apartment, worked part-time at the firm while attending classes at night, studying until 2 a.m., surviving on coffee and determination. The family had no idea. Why would they? We hadn't spoken in years. Law school led to the public defender's office, where I learned to fight for people who'd been written off by everyone else. People like me. That led to the district attorney's office, where I prosecuted the kind of financial crimes that destroy families and communities. And that led me here, federal prosecutor, the kind of career that Dad always said was for other people's kids. Agent Martinez slides another folder across the conference table. "We've got him cold, Rebecca. The wire transfers, the encrypted communications, the insider trading, it's all here." His fund made $47 million in illegal profits over 3 years. I flipped through the evidence methodically. Phone records showing calls to board members minutes before major announcements. Bank records showing suspiciously timed trades. Email chains that might as well be confessions. What about his personal assets, I ask? 3 homes, 2 boats, investment portfolio worth about $80 million, all subject to forfeiture if we get a conviction. Everything he built while I was sleeping in my car, everything he accumulated while I was starting over from nothing. But this isn't about the money, this isn't even about revenge, not really. It's about accountability. It's about the kind of person who steps on others to get ahead, who breaks the law because he thinks he's too important to face consequences. It's about the kind of person who hangs up on his sister when she's homeless and asks for help. "He's here," Agent Martinez says, nodding toward the hallway. Through the glass wall of the conference room, I see Daniel walking with his attorney, a sharp-dressed man who probably costs more per hour than I used to make in a week. Daniel looks exactly the same. Expensive haircut, perfectly tailored suit, that confident stride that says he owns whatever room he enters. He's arguing with his lawyer, gesturing emphatically, clearly frustrated that this little problem hasn't been made to disappear yet. He has no idea his little problem is me. "They're requesting another meeting," Martinez says, checking his phone. "His attorney wants to discuss a plea arrangement." "Set it up," I say. "Conference room B in 10 minutes. I want to look him in the eye when he realizes who's been building the case against him. I'm sitting at the head of the conference table when they walk in. Daniel enters first, still talking on his phone, barely glancing around the room. His attorney, Richard Steinberg, nods politely in my direction. "Miss Hayes." Richard Steinberg, representing Mr. Daniel Hayes. "Thank you for agreeing to meet with us." At the sound of my name, Daniel's head snaps up from his phone. For a moment, he just stares like his brain is struggling to process what he's seeing. His sister, Rebecca, the family failure, the one who couldn't get her life together, sitting behind a federal prosecutor's nameplate in a $2,000 suit. "Rebecca," his voice cracks slightly on my name. "Hello, Daniel." I keep my voice perfectly professional. "Please sit down." He's still standing, mouth slightly open, looking between me and his attorney like one of us might explain how this is possible. "You two know each other?" Steinberg asks, clearly confused. "Miss Hayes is my client's sister." I say calmly, pulling out the case file, but that won't prevent me from prosecuting this case to the full extent of the law. In fact, it makes me more determined to see that justice is served. Daniel finally sits heavily, like all the air has gone out of him. "Rebecca, what is this? How are you? When did you become a prosecutor?" 8 years ago, you told me to figure out my own problems, I say, opening the file. So I did. The conference room is dead silent except for the whisper of papers. As I lay out photographs of bank statements, transcripts of recorded phone calls, email printouts highlighting illegal communications. "Your client is charged with 15 counts of securities fraud, 12 counts of insider trading, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. I continue, my voice steady and professional. The evidence is overwhelming. The recommended sentence is 18 to 25 years in federal prison. Steinberg leans forward. Miss Hayes, surely we can work something out, a plea arrangement that serves everyone's interests. No. I close the file and look directly at Daniel. Your client had multiple opportunities to come forward, to cooperate, to show remorse. Instead, he continued breaking the law, stealing from investors, profiting from illegal information. The United States government is not interested in a plea deal. Daniel is pale now, his confident demeanor completely gone. Rebecca, please, we're family. The laugh that escapes me is sharp and humorless. Family? When I was sleeping in my car 8 years ago and called you for help, what did you tell me? He doesn't answer. You told me to figure out my own problems. You told me I couldn't keep expecting everyone else to solve things for me. I stand, gathering my papers. Well, Daniel, now you need to figure out your own problems, and I'm not going to solve them for you. Rebecca, wait. He's standing now too, reaching toward me. I was wrong. I should have helped you. I should have. You should have been a brother. I cut him off. You should have been family when I needed you most. But you weren't. And now I'm not your sister in this room. I'm a federal prosecutor and you're a criminal. I'm going to put in prison. I head toward the door, then pause and turn back. The trial starts Monday morning. I suggest you spend the weekend getting your affairs in order. The trial lasts 3 weeks. Daniel sits at the defendant's table every day, occasionally glancing back at me with a mixture of disbelief and what might be regret. His wife is there sometimes, looking shell-shocked and pale. Their 2 kids are college-aged now. They probably have no idea their tuition was paid with illegal profits. I present the case methodically, piece by piece. Financial records that show the pattern of illegal trades. Phone records that prove insider information. Testimony from whistleblowers who finally came forward. Each day, the evidence mounts, and Daniel's confident facade crumbles a little more. On the witness stand, his former business partner breaks down completely, describing how Daniel pressured him into participating in the scheme, how he threatened to destroy his career if he didn't cooperate. He said he was untouchable, the witness testifies, tears streaming down his face. He said he had connections, that no one could touch him. He said people like us don't go to prison. People like us, the entitled ones, the ones who think rules are for other people. During cross-examination, I watched Daniel's attorney try desperately to poke holes in our case. But 8 years as a prosecutor has taught me how to build an airtight argument. Every potential weakness has been shored up, every piece of evidence triple-checked, every witness prepared. When I deliver my closing argument, the courtroom is packed. Word has gotten out about the prosecutor taking down her own brother. It's the kind of story that draws crowds. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I begin standing in front of the defendant's table where Daniel sits with his head in his hands. This case is about accountability. It's about the principle that no one is above the law. I walk them through the evidence one final time. The phone calls, the bank transfers, the pattern of fraud that spans 3 years and cost investors millions of dollars. The defendant wants you to believe this was a victimless crime, that these were just numbers on a screen. I continue, but every dollar he stole illegally came from somewhere. Pension funds, college savings accounts, retirement investments. He didn't just break the law, he broke trust. He broke faith with every person who worked honestly for their money while he cheated the system. I pause, letting that sink in. The defendant chose to break the law because he thought he was too important to face consequences. He thought he was untouchable. Today, you have the power to prove him wrong. The jury deliberates for 6 hours. When they file back into the courtroom, none of them look at Daniel. That's never a good sign for the defense. Has the jury reached a verdict? We have, Your Honor. On the charge of securities fraud, how do you find? Guilty. On the charge of insider trading, how do you find? Guilty. Guilty, 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 15 times. Daniel collapses forward onto the table, his shoulders shaking. His wife runs from the courtroom, sobbing. The judge sets sentencing for 6 weeks out, but we all know what's coming. Federal prison, asset forfeiture, the complete destruction of everything he built. I pack up my files methodically, professionally, another case closed, another criminal facing justice. But as I'm leaving the courtroom, Daniel's voice stops me. Rebecca. I turn, he's standing by the defendant's table, flanked by federal marshals who will escort him out. His expensive suit looks rumpled now, his confident posture completely gone. "I'm sorry," he says quietly, "for everything, for not being there when you needed me, for not being the brother you deserved." I study his face, looking for sincerity, for genuine remorse beyond the fear of going to prison. Maybe it's there. Maybe after 38 years, he finally understands what family actually means. "I'm sorry too, Daniel." I say finally, "I'm sorry it took this to make you realize it." 6 weeks later, I'm back in the courtroom for sentencing. Daniel gets 18 years in federal prison and forfeiture of all assets obtained through illegal means. Everything. The houses, the boats, the investment accounts. His wife will have to start over with nothing, just like I did 8 years ago. The difference is she has a choice in how she rebuilds. She can choose bitterness or she can choose strength. She can choose to let this destroy her, or she can choose to become someone new. After the sentencing, I walk outside into the crisp October air. The courthouse steps are busy with attorneys and clients, witnesses and reporters, normal people dealing with the messy business of justice. Agent Martinez catches up with me on the sidewalk. "Hell of a case, Rebecca. You should be proud." I am proud, not because I destroyed my brother. That was his choice when he decided to break the law. I'm proud because I proved something to myself that I always hoped was true, that people can change, that circumstances don't define you, that rock bottom really is solid ground if you're willing to build from it. My phone buzzes with a text from my old law professor. "Saw the news coverage. Incredible work. You should consider running for DA someday." Maybe I will. Maybe there are more cases to build, more criminals who think they're untouchable, more people who need someone to fight for them. I walk toward my car, toward whatever comes next. 8 years ago, I was sleeping in the same parking space, wondering if I'd ever amount to anything. Today, I'm walking away from the biggest case of my career, knowing that I became exactly who I was supposed to be. The family that wrote me off was wrong. I didn't figure out my problems, I figured out my purpose, and that made all the difference.